Using his knife, he carefully cut away the net, freeing her delicate tail. The mermaid, her scales sparkling like precious jewel, looked at Inyere with gratitude. "Thank you, kind fisherman," she said. "You have saved my life. Why did you help me when others sought to trap me?" Inyere, still in awe of such wondrous creature, replied, "I couldn't bear to see you suffer. But you must leave this region quickly." Once upon a time, in a small coastal village called Saba Island, lived a humble fisherman named Inyere. He was known for his kind heart and hardworking nature, always willing to help his neighbors despite his own struggles. Despite his best efforts, the sea had not been generous to him, and his catches were often meager. Inyere lived in a modest hut with his wife, Ama, and their young son, Kojo. Each morning before dawn, Inyere set out in his old wooden boat, hoping for a bountiful catch that would feed his family and perhaps leave enough to sell at the market. The village had recently fallen on hard times. A severe drought had led to famine, and the villagers were struggling to find enough food. One day, a group of foreign traders arrived in the village. They brought with them tales of the outside world and promises of great wealth. One promise in particular caught the villagers' attention. The traders offered a large reward to anyone who could capture a mermaid. "Listen to me, good people," one of the traders proclaimed in a language thick with an unfamiliar accent. "We seek a wondrous mermaid, a creature of great beauty and mystery. Bring us one, and you shall be rewarded with gold beyond your wildest dreams." The idea of such a reward was tantalizing, especially in these hard times. Many of the fishermen, driven by desperation, began to strategize on how they could catch a mermaid. They crafted elaborate traps and set out heavy nets, hoping to capture one of the mythical creatures and claim the reward. "Inyere," said Ama one evening as they sat by their small fire, "the villagers are all talking about this foreigner's offer. Do you think we should try to catch a mermaid too?" Inyere frowned, deep in thought. "I don't like the idea, Ama. The sea and its creatures have always been a mystery to us. It doesn't feel right to capture something so magical for our gain, but I also know we need to eat." Ama sighed, placing a comforting hand on Inyere's. "You have always had a good heart. Let's hope the sea will bless us with a bountiful catch." One evening, determined to provide for his family, yet conflicted about capturing a maid, Inyere set out into the quiet moonlit waters. He decided to cast his net, hoping for enough fish to sustain his family. As Inyere rowed his boat into the deep, he noticed something unusual in the distance. It was a large shimmering object caught in one of the traps set by the other fishermen. Rowing closer, Inyere realized with shock that it was not an object but a beautiful mermaid, her tail ensnared in the rough fibers of the net. Her eyes, large and filled with fear, glistened with tears. "Please help me," she pleaded, her voice a haunting melody that resonated in the night air. Inyere's heart ached with compassion. For a moment, he considered claiming the mermaid as his catch and taking her to the traders. The reward would save his family from the famine and provide them with a comfortable life. But as he looked into her frightened eyes, he knew he could not betray his conscience to do something so wicked. "Don't worry, I'll free you," he said, leaping into the water and swimming to her side. Using his knife, He carefully cut away the net, freeing her delicate tail. The mermaid, her scales sparkling like precious jewel, looked at Inyere with gratitude. "Thank you, kind fisherman," she said. "You have saved my life. Why did you help me when others sought to trap me?" Inyere, still in awe of such wondrous creature, replied, "I couldn't bear to see you suffer. But you must leave this region quickly. The fishermen have set traps all around, hoping to catch you and claim a reward from the foreign traders." The mermaid's expression turned solemn. "I will leave. As long as you have warned me, I must give you something in return for your kindness. What do you wish for as a reward?" Inyere shook his head. "I want nothing. I did not free you for a reward. If I wanted one, I would have taken you to the traders. Please be safe." The mermaid looked at him intently, studying his face. She then glanced at his boat and saw that his nets were empty. "You are truly selfless, Inyere," she said softly, "but I cannot leave you without showing my gratitude." With that, she plucked a single iridescent scale from her tail and placed it in Inyere's palm. "This scale holds the magic of the sea. Whenever you wish to fish, cast it into the water and all the fish will come to your net." Inyere stared at the scale in his hand, overwhelmed with gratitude and disbelief. "Thank you, but I did not help you for a reward. Please be safe." The mermaid smiled, a soft knowing look in her eyes. "Your kindness is rare, Inyere. May the sea always be generous to you." With a final and grateful look, the mermaid slipped beneath the waves and disappeared into the depths of the ocean. Inyere, still in awe of what had transpired, held the scale tightly and returned to his boat. He wondered if the mermaid's gift could truly hold the power she claimed. With a mixture of hope and trepidation, Inyere cast his net into the water and gently tossed the scale into the sea. Immediately, the water began to shimmer and ripple. To his astonishment, fish of all kinds began to swim towards his boat, filling his net until it was nearly bursting. Inyere hauled in the heaviest and most abundant catch of his life, his heart swelling with joy and gratitude. When he returned to the village, other fishermen were astounded by his bounty. Word of Inyere's miraculous catch spread quickly, and soon everyone was talking about the poor fisherman who had been blessed by the sea. Inyere shared his fish with the villagers, ensuring that no one went hungry, and sold the rest at the market, earning enough money to improve his family's modest home and secure their future. However, not everyone in the village was happy about Inyere's newfound fortune. Yao, a wealthy and greedy fisherman who had long been jealous of Inyere's kindness and resilience, grew suspicious. He couldn't understand how Inyere had suddenly become so successful. Driven by envy, Yao decided to find out Inyere's secrets. One evening, Yao followed Inyere to the shore and hid behind some rocks, watching as Inyere prepared to fish. He saw Inyere cast his net and then throw something small and shiny into the water. Instantly, fish filled the net just as they had before. Realizing that Inyere possessed some sort of magical talisman, Yao's eyes narrowed with greed. "This fool must have some sort of charm," Yao muttered to himself. "I will have it for myself and be the wealthiest man in the village." The next night, under the covers of the darkness, Yao crept into Inyere's hut and stole the scale from its hiding place. Laughing to himself, he hurried back to his own boat, eager to use the magical scale for his own gain. He cast his net and threw the scale into the water, expecting a miraculous catch. But the sea does not favor the greedy. Instead of fish, the water began to churn violently. and a powerful whirlpool formed, sucking Yao's boat into its depth. Yao clung desperately to the side of his boat, but the currents were too strong. Just before he was pulled under, he saw the face of the mermaid, her eyes filled with disappointment and anger. "You have taken what is not yours," she said. "The sea does not reward greed and treachery. If you do not want to die, return the scale to its rightful owner and never speak of what has happened." Panicked, Yao nodded frantically. "I will, I promise." The whirlpool ceased its violent swirling, and Yao found himself thrust onto the shore, disheveled and terrified. Clutching the scale, he hurried back to Nyere's hut, praying that the mermaid's warning would protect him. He found Nyere outside, preparing his boat for the next day's fishing. Nyere looked up, surprised to see Yao, who was usually too proud to visit his humble home, looking so disheveled and desperate. "Yao, what happened to you?" Nyere asked, concerned. Yao thrust the scale into Nyere's hand. "Look, I took this from your house. I'm sorry. Please forgive me." He stammered, his voice trembling. Without waiting for a response, Yao turned back and fled, leaving Nyere bewildered and confused. Nyere looked down at the scale in his hand, the pieces slowly coming together. He shook his head. His heart was heavy with both pity and relief. Returning the scale to its safe place, he realized just how precious the mermaid's gift was. Nyere continued to fish with the mermaid's scale, but he always did so with gratitude and humility. He shared his bounty with the village, ensuring that everyone benefited from the sea's generosity. As the years passed, Nyere's family prospered and the village thrived, united by the spirit of cooperation and goodwill. And so, my audience, the story of the poor fisherman who saved the mermaid and received a magical scale became a cherished legend, reminding all who heard of it of the power of kindness and the danger of greed and the enduring magic of the sea. I hope you have learned a lot from this lesson. As always, I'll be happy to hear from you. Share with me what you have learned. Until next time, stay kind and be blessed.